I won't go into it straight away, but like the chairperson has mentioned, inshallah it will come clear as we go on. I want to talk about, firstly, to start off with, I want to describe a group of people. These group of people, they're not any specific group of people. Yeah, I'll give you their names if you want. It's Abdullah from London, Saeed from Saudi Arabia, Afaq from Iraq, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan. They're all over the world, these people. They're Muslims. I call them ideal Muslims. They're, alhamdulillah, practicing brothers and sisters from all around the world. Now these brothers and sisters, when they enter the deen, alhamdulillah, they start practicing very well. They pray all their prayers on time.
They fast, they pay the zakah, and recite the Quran in an eloquent manner, or they try to. And these people, as they go on learning the deen, it's natural, we go on, we learn more about the deen. So we'll go into the Arabic language, or we'll go into hadith studies, we'll go into many things, many different things. As the knowledge grows, these people, the sincere intention behind it, alhamdulillah, is very good. They gain their knowledge in Quran, in hadith, in the opinions of the classical scholars, and then some of them even got to, in a very short period of time, to the level of Ustad. Now, what we see after that is, what is it they occupy themselves in, occupy their time in doing? They talk about, so you'll see in the gatherings, many during Ramadan, outside Ramadan, every Fridays, every Saturdays, or every Sundays in the talks, people will talk about, with the knowledge that they gained, the hard effort they put in, you see brothers debating, why haven't you got a beard? Why is your garment not long enough? Why are you doing wudu the wrong way? This is, of all the knowledge, this is what is put to use. Also you see other good actions, alhamdulillah. You see endless talks on Jannah, on Jahannam, on the soul, on the journey of the soul, on the heart, what it's made out of. You see endless talks on the classical scholars, the likes of Abu Hanifa, the likes of Ash-Shafi'i, the likes of Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah. You see endless talks in these classical scholars and their lives and what they got up to. And it's, I mean, undoubtedly these were great scholars. These were great scholars of the Ummah. But you see a lot of this. So you see, amongst themselves they'll debate from different ideas. So one would attack the other, you know what, akhi, you don't know all the attributes of Allah, or you don't know attribute number 87, you're deviant. Straight up, just like that. You don't know, your garment is below your ankle, you're in the hellfire. This is what we tend to do, unfortunately, with the knowledge we get. We come into Islam, practicing Islam with a very sincere heart, open heart. And we go into these, in the end we go into this arguing and debating one another on trivial issues. I want to concentrate now on very briefly, I want to go through his life story, because we'd be here, until next week, if I give his whole life story. I want to concentrate on one of the classical ulama, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, and a few incidents in his life. Ibn Taymiyyah, when he was young, he moved to Damascus with his family, because his hometown was ransacked by the Tatars, the Mongols. Now Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, subhanAllah, this person, he was Shaykh al-Islam, he had over 200 ulama that taught him. Over 200, and he's from the Hanbali school of thought. Ibn Taymiyyah, to describe in the words of Imam Ad-Dhahabi rahimahullah, who's one of his students, he described him with regards to Ibn Taymiyyah. There's two types of people with regards to Ibn Taymiyyah: those who loved him to the extreme, too much, and those who disliked him to the extreme, too much. And whenever Imam Ad-Dhahabi would write something good about Ibn Taymiyyah, those who disliked him would attack him. How dare you write good stuff about him? And those who liked him to the extreme would attack him. You haven't done enough. You should mention more. Why don't you do a khutbah every week on him? Something like that. This was Ibn Taymiyyah. He polarized, if you like, society in his time, because he was a very strong character. He was up front in what he had to say. He had strong views. Now, when Ibn Taymiyyah, when he moved to Damascus at that time was was the remnants of the legacy of Salahuddin Ayyubi. When Salahuddin got rid of the Crusaders and the Fatimids in Egypt and everything, he instilled, because Salahuddin was Shafi'i in his thought and Ash'ari in his Aqidah. And he instilled all the ulama around that time, he instilled were all the Ash'ari and mainly Shafi'i scholars. And I think at that time even the likes of Imam al-Nawawi was there. And Ibn Taymiyyah came into this city, in this town, and naturally you could imagine there was clashes in terms of ideas. The ideas he held and the branches of Aqidah and all that, we don't need to go into it. But, because Ibn Taymiyyah, he was from the Hanbali school and he had very strong views. And they would debate, the scholar ulama would debate on many issues, from where to put the hands, where not to put the hands, to raise the hands or not. All of these things on branches of Aqidah and everything. But there was, if you look at, subhanAllah, the respect. I mentioned earlier on Imam al-Dahabi. He was a Shafi'i jurist and a hadith scholar. But the respect he had for Imam Ibn Taymiyyah was unbelievable. These were scholars. They, like us, they went into the deen. They started practicing. They started learning Islam, going into the branches of Islam, on Arabic language, on hadith. And they had many differences. And they had the right to, they were mujtahid. They had many differences, yet they held their respect amongst one another. And going back to Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he disagreed even with the Qadi of Damascus, even with the Wali of Damascus, the governors. He didn't really care. He was straight up, no, you're wrong because of this. But he understood difference of opinion. If it was an issue that there is no ikhtilaf, he would stand strongly on it. Now, despite all of this, despite all these differences, even on the branches of Aqidah, there was an incident in Damascus where the Tatars from Iraq and all that, because they ransacked Baghdad, the capital of the Dawla Islamiyya at that time. Then it moved to Egypt. The Tatars started getting an army ready to attack, to ransack Damascus now. Now, Ibn Taymiyyah, if he was to follow our lead, and the youth today, what would he have done? He would have turned around and say, you know what, forget it, kill all of these people, they're all Ash'aris anyways. They put their hand in the wrong place. They don't do wudu properly, or they don't lower their raise their garments. This is what he would have said, because this is the mentality we have today. There's a difference, they're deviants, forget them, I don't need to help them. He would have said this. He would have sent a fatwa out, and he had many followers, saying, rebel against the Sultan in Egypt. But he did not. What did Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah do? He got the people ready in Damascus. All the people. Remember, all the people were Shafi'i, from the Shafi'i school of thought. And the others were a few Hanbali and a few Hanafis, and very few Malikis. And Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he set off on his horseback. He went straight to Egypt. And he addressed the Sultan, the Amir al-Mu'mineen there. Because that was where the seat of the Khilafah was, the capital of the Khilafah. And he addressed him. He didn't go in straight away. Oh Sultan, oh Al-Hakim, change your Aqidah. Change the way you pray. Change this and change that. Change this and change that, and I'll give my allegiance to you. No. He went up to him and said, if you were not rulers and you were normal people, and we came to you and asked for help, then it is obligatory upon you to help. But what now that you are the Amir al-Mu'mineen? What now that you are the Sultan of the Muslims? And upon his words of encouragement, the Khalif sent an army and they drove out the Tatars in Damascus. SubhanAllah, look, I'm going to go back to earlier, what I started off with. Look at the difference, the response, and the mentality of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. He had many people at his time, he had many people who differed with him. Who differed when he was a young boy. He grew up under the shadow of Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah. But he was a mujtahid in his own right. He had many differences with many scholars, many of the Qadis. He was put in prison in Egypt at one point. He was put in prison in Damascus at one point. So he had many differences with a lot of these people. In fact, he once even remarked that some of the ideas, he was debating with a few scholars, he once even remarked that some of the ideas that these ulama held, if he was to hold them, then he would be deviant. Now he did not accuse them of deviancy. He said, no, you're ignorant. You're ignorant, so you are not deviant. But if I know this, if I held this view, I'd be deviant. That's compassion between the ulama there. They had major differences. And that's compassion between them. If we look at today, this day and age, going back to our generation, whenever we have disagreements, subhanAllah, you hear, if you go into some of the internet forums that I've visited recently, if you go into these forums, it's amazing. It's like someone gains a bit of knowledge and then that's it. What madhab do you follow? Why do you follow this madhab? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Or why do you even follow a madhab at all? The slandering and the ill feeling they have towards one another over issues of ikhtilaf, which has been debated centuries ago by the great ulama. They go to extremes with in their attack on one another, and whichever party it may be, whether it be the Salafis, the Wahhabis, the Najdis, the Sufis, the whatever, the Ash'aris, whatever it may be, the partisanship amongst them is amazing. You'd think they're, fighting over life and death here. I want to go into now the dangers. What are the dangers of this? If we look at the dangers, was highlighted from the life of Ibn Taymiyyah. If he didn't follow the right path, the dangers of this is today we find. I even come across some discussion with a few brothers where, subhanAllah, there are some brothers who, at a drop of a hat, because of this partisanship, because of this mentality that arguing over the most smallest of things, whether one should, which madhab one should follow. They'll declare the great scholars. I've heard people say, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimullah, he's deviant. Or Imam al-Nawawi, he's deviant. Al-Shafi'i, he's deviant. Just like that. And these are people who are not fit to lace the boots of the likes of Imam al-Nawawi, the likes of Ibn Taymiyyah, and the likes of Imam al-Shafi'i. But they do it willy-nilly, easily. And what does it also breed? It breeds sectarianism amongst the people. And it's very divisive. So now, if I was to follow the teachings of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, I can't sit and have a good relationship with my brother who follows the teaching of Imam Ghazali. Because we end up attacking one another. Ibn Taymiyyah was wrong in this, Al-Ghazali was wrong in this. This is what it breeds. Not unity, but divisions amongst the people. Over the most, and when we go back to it, and what the issues are, subhanAllah, over the most minuscule of stuff. I mean, we prayed earlier on Maghrib there. There's, looking around, there's brothers with their arms up here, others below the navel. There's no, mashallah, there's no issues between us. But I've been in situations where I didn't know what that brother was trying to do, but I think he was willing to break his prayer so that I could move my legs about, an inch to the left. And I was like, I didn't know what to do, I didn't know what to say. I was like, do I break my prayer? So, what are you doing? Are you attacking me or something? Are you touching my feet for? It's amazing. It was like, subhanAllah, it's the length that people go to. The other dangers, the far greater danger of all of this, is the neglect. Because we concentrate on all these, a lot of this stuff, if you analyze it, if you look into it, it's issues of sunnah, it's issues of mubah, it's genuine ikhtilaf. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a hadith, he said, the ikhtilaf is a mercy upon the ummah. So we spend our time arguing and debating over little issues of ikhtilaf. And the main danger behind this is if we look at what does this, apart from creating sectarianism and division amongst the people, and easily disrespecting the classical scholars. Another greater issue this does is it appeases shaitan. Now going back to the issue of the devil's deception, we are deceived into thinking that we learn the deen, we practice Islam, we learn a few hadiths, and then we spend all our years attacking one another. attacking left, right and centre. What work have we left for the unbelievers and shaitan then? We've left no work. They can chill out, watch the World Cup, watch football, watch the Champions League. They don't need to bother with us. We'll deal with ourselves. We'll attack ourselves. SubhanAllah. When we ask a lot of these people, when we ask them, you know what, akhi, look, we're debating. One another, you haven't got a beard, or I haven't got a beard. Fear Allah. You haven't got a beard, fear Allah. Okay, hold on. Like there's Muslims dying in Palestine, they're under occupation. How do we solve these issues? Because did not the Prophet ﷺ say, the one who wakes up in the morning and does not think of the affairs of the Ummah and how to solve them, he's not one of us. And the blood of a Muslim is far dearer to Allah than everything in the world and the whole world put together. How do we solve these issues? The response is very simple. You know what? These brothers in Palestine, it's a punishment from Allah because, astaghfirullah, because their aqidah is wrong. They need to fix their aqidah, so it's a punishment. SubhanAllah. So, it's as simple as that. Muslim blood is shed in the Holy Land, Al-Quds. This is where our beloved Prophet led all the other prophets in prayer behind him. And he ascended up to the heavens. This is the response. When we ask about Somalia and what's happening there, the Muslims starving to death, 10,000 people just this time around so far have starved to death because of the famine. The response is simple. We should make dua, brother, for them. Just make dua, isn't it? And the other response is, yeah, their aqidah is dodgy. They're disobeying Allah, so Allah's punishing them. It's quite amazing that when we look at the life of Rasulullah ﷺ and what he went through in Medina, in Mecca, 13 years he struggled. He got stoned in Taif. The Sahaba were killed. His beloved were killed. He went through all of that. Would these same people turn around and say, astaghfirullah, Allah's punishing the beloved, our beloved and Allah's beloved? They would never say this. It's blasphemous. So why is it that when it comes to the Muslims, the blood of the Muslims being shed all around the world, the response is, look, their aqidah is dodgy. It's amazing. You think to yourself, SubhanAllah, you must be Superman. Like, who needs Salahuddin when we've got the likes of you? Your aqidah is perfect. You're a perfect Muslim. And Allah will not send His calamities upon you or test you in any way. And it also reminds us of the other hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ where He says, Allah tests those who He loves. So our response should be what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Somalia, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Kashmir, all of these places, in Chechnya, in Bosnia, and Kosovo. You know what? Allah loves them dearly. He's testing them, and He loves them dearly. It's not that their aqidah is wrong or anything. There's another incident, 2 days ago actually, I came across. It's amazing. It's from that mentality that, you shouldn't follow a madhab, or you shouldn't follow this madhab, you should follow that madhab. Why do you follow this scholar? He was deviant, or he was non-Muslim, or whatever. It's bred from that mentality, when the importance of the deen is put on for these minuscule, irrelevant issues, which has been, it's a scholarly debate, half of these anyways, which has been debated by the scholars. When all the emphasis is put on that, I came across a gathering of a few brothers, and they were sitting down and debating the World Cup bid by the Qatar, the country in the Middle East. I don't really call it a country, it's just a petrol pump. But Qatar, yeah, they were debating that. And they were sitting there, and I was just listening. I was just standing there listening, and the debate was amazing. The brothers sat there, and they were talking about, you know what, there's one stadium there. But the technology is amazing. They're going to have air conditioning in the whole stadium. I ain't even got it in my bedroom. They're going to have it in the whole stadium for 100,000 people. And also the fact that after they have the World Cup, after they hold the World Cup, they're going to be able to deconstruct it without damaging anything, move it on to another country, maybe England. They were just amazed by it. They're saying, this is fantastic. Look at the way they think. This is brilliant. One of them actually even made a comment. It's ironic, is it? That's quite amazing. SubhanAllah, it's quite amazing for an Arab to think of that. I was like, okay. Now, I know these brothers are left here. I'll see them soon, inshallah. But, and I was startled. There's one thing amazing in this. They were praising the Qatari government. They were praising them for their bid for the World Cup. and the amount of money they're spending, the technology they're bringing out for a lot of these stadiums. It's amazing, subhanAllah. Not once did they think and question that this money, the billions of dollars and pounds that they're spending, the Ummah's wealth, it belongs to the Muslim Ummah. They're spending on a facade, on the World Cup, to showcase to the world, look, we're great, when there's 10,000 people dying in the famine as we speak in Somalia. They never once questioned, wait a minute, if the Qatari government can spend billions of dollars, billions of pounds on these stadiums, it can't spend that money on the Muslims of Somalia? It wants to showcase to the world, it wants to entertain the world, the unbelieving people, look, come to our country, eat, drink, alcohol, everything you want, pork, we'll supply it all, because we're great people, look at what we can provide. Yet, they devalue the life of the Muslim. And these are Muslims, they believe in Allah and the Rasul and the last day and in the books. They don't, not even a single glance towards Somalia or Sudan. Not even a single glance over there. And these brothers sat there, same, not even a single question, how could the Qatari government do this? They spend billions upon billions staging a World Cup competition, which will bring no benefit to the people. But they turn a blind eye to the death of millions of Muslims. And we know, as I mentioned earlier on, that the blood of a Muslim, a single drop of blood of a Muslim, is far dearer to Allah than the whole world and everything within it. And it's amazing, this. Not once did these brothers even think about that. And why would they? Why should they? Because when you speak to these same brothers, that's not an important issue. The blood of the Muslim is not an important issue. The famine in Somalia is not an important issue. Yes, we'll make dua for it. We'll give a bit of charity. Or the extreme response, they need to fix their Aqidah. That's what's wrong. But they all follow the Maliki school. So, you know, they had it coming towards them. They should have followed the Shafi'i school or something. Something response like this. This is the normal response you'd get. Not that, hold on, I'm a Muslim. And these are my brothers and sisters that are dying. Not thinking once that all our governments in the Muslim world who are rich, wealthy, very wealthy. We think of Bangladesh as being very poor. A lot of us here from Bangladesh have done a bit of research. That lady, Hasina, her son, bloody hell, he owns a house in, was it Dubai? 300 million is worth. I've never been to Dubai, let alone own a house for 300 million. And the people in Bangladesh are meant to be so poor and dying because of poverty. These people are living out. We know the riches of the occupiers of Hijaz in Saudi Arabia. We know the wealth that they own. Tremendous wealth they own. We know that Mubarak alone, since though he's been ousted, it's been revealed now, is worth 70 billion. That's a bit more than Lakshmi Mittal or Bill Gates. And imagine the so-called royal family in Saudi Arabia. How much they're worth. Can they not solve the problems of the Muslim Ummah around the world? When the people uprised in Bahrain, the Saudi government sent its government in, its army in, to liberate the rulers of Bahrain from the people. Yeah, it can't do that for Palestine, because they need to fix their Aqidah apparently. And these thoughts, these ideas of caring for your Ummah, of thinking of solving the problems of the Ummah, why would it come into our thoughts when we occupy our time not thinking about what our rulers can do for us, not what our rulers' responsibility should be, not thinking about, wait a minute, hold on, Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, that in Surah Baqarah, Surah Imran, that you're the best nation raised from mankind. You enjoin the good and you forbid the evil and you believe in Allah. And this ayat, subhanAllah, Allah has put the fact that you believe in Allah, that's the highest. That is the most important issue. But He's put it after. You enjoin the good and you forbid the evil. That's the whole point, that's the whole basis. From Adam alayhi salam to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi salam. Of believing in Allah and enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. It's the whole point of all the messages. Yet we neglect that. Because we spend our time refuting one another on how long our beard should be, or where our hand should be in salah. we preoccupy ourselves with this. Not once thinking, hold on, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our beloved. We say we love Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We love him more than our parents. You know, only after Allah, he's the most important. We say we love him so much, yet when he went through all of those troubles in Mecca, just to establish the rule of Allah, the hukm of Allah, the hudud of Allah, 85% of the Quran is rules and regulations. We live in 15%, if that. Yeah, it doesn't worry us. Now, has Allah played a joke on us that 85% is rules and regulations? We don't need to worry about it when it's not being implemented anywhere in the world. We don't need to worry about it. But why should we? When to us, the most important issues is which madhab we follow. Or, you know, how can I defeat this brother in a debate and prove that he's a deviant? And to show the world that I'm following the correct manhaj and my path is right and everyone else is definitely wrong. Because these are the issues that are important to us. Also, if we go back to the time of when Islam, the message of Allah, the final message of Allah came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his Sahaba, you know, do we think that the Quraysh, Abu Jahl was worried about the length of Umar radiallahu anhu's beard? I don't think that's what he was scared of. He was not worried about the Quraysh. They were not scared. They were not frightened. They were not uneasy about whether Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu had his thawb above his ankle or not. This is not what scared them. They were not scared by the recitation of Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu. This is not what they feared. This was not what they feared. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with the message. He didn't start accounting Abu Jahl saying, your beard, you ain't got a long enough beard. Or your thawb, what the hell's wrong with your thawb? Why aren't you wearing a thawb? Why are you wearing trousers for? He didn't account them on these issues. This is not what the Sahaba came with. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. This is not what they came with. What is it that frightened the Quraysh? Because there's many people, there was Christians in that land before them that believed in Allah. One Allah. Believed in Isa alayhi salam. They weren't worried about the Christians or the Yahud. But they were petrified with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From the first moment, they were petrified with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the message he came with. Because it came to address society. It came to address the whole of mankind. Not on our individual issues of where we keep our hand in prayer. Or if we raise our hand in prayer. Not these individual issues specifically. It came to address everything. On how we govern ourselves. On what rules our rulers implement upon us. And how we live our lives in every aspect. This is the message that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. A complete deen. Not like the Christians where it's only morals and individual issues. And like the Yahud, the morals and individual issues. Our deen was complete for us in all aspects. This is the message that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. And this is what petrified the Quraysh. Honestly, unless someone disagrees, I honestly don't think they were scared of Umar radiallahu anhu's beard. They were more scared with the message that he held. Now, I want to finish off. I'm going to come to a conclusion. I want to finish off. I want to read a quote. It's from one of the classical scholars, a student of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. His name is Ibn Qayyim Jawziyah. He was one of the classical great scholars of the Ummah. And subhanAllah, he puts this beautifully. I just want to read a passage from one of his books. And he talks about this devil, the devil's deception. Where the devil has, you know, he's made us think that this is our deen. That me and you should argue over, you know, whether our beard should be longer or shorter, or where we should put our hands, or where our garments should be, or what garments we should wear. What scholar we should follow. Shaitan has deceived us into thinking that this is our deen and this is what we should be striving for and spending all our time on. Ibn Qayyim goes on to say that Shaitan has misled most of the people by beautifying for them the performance of certain voluntary acts of worship, such as voluntary prayers, voluntary fasting, while neglecting other obligatory acts of worship, such as enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, to the extent that they do not even make an intention on performing them. For the essence of our religion is to perform what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to do. The one who does not perform his obligations is actually worse than the one who performs a sin. SubhanAllah. The one who does not perform his obligations is worse than the one who performs sins. Anyone having knowledge about the revelation of Allah, the guidance of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the life of the companions, would see that those who are pointed at today as the most pious are in fact the least pious. How true it rings today, in this day and age. Ibn Qayyim came about 800 years ago. He's better than Nostradamus, because he's pinpointing this reality right now. And he goes on to say, indeed, what deen and what good is there in a person who witnesses the sanctities of Allah Azza wa Jal being violated, his hudud not applied, his religion abandoned, and the sunnah of his messenger shunned, and yet remain still with a cold heart and a silent tongue. And he coins it perfectly who this person is, a dumb shaitan. Because that's exactly what it is. What does shaitan do? He misleads us by whispering into our ears falsehood. He misleads the people, whispering into their ears falsehood. The one who does not enjoin the good and forbid the evil, and speak up when the rules of Allah are being vilified. When we have attack on Islam after attack by the Western governments, and even some Muslim governments, believe it or not, or so-called Muslim governments. We do not defend it. We do not say anything against it. We do not defend the deen.
Rather, we occupy ourselves in attacking one another. We stay quiet when we're asked, where is the rule? When we're asked about what's the opinion of this scholar on this issue, we'll give a 10-page reply. This is the opinion. If we go to a halal shop, what's the rules regarding halal chicken? You have ustads and everyone giving 10-page, eloquent details with all the evidences on why this is halal or this is haram with regards to the chicken. When you ask them about the hudud of Allah not being applied, when you ask them about the blood of the Muslim being shed all over the world, when you ask them about our holiest places like Al-Quds being occupied, nothing. They stay silent. Oh, I fear for my family. All of a sudden they fear for their family. Oh, these are issues we shouldn't debate or whatever. They stay silent. Is that not a dumb shaitan? Because shaitan speaks ill. These people, they shy away from speaking the truth. They stay silent on speaking the truth. And Ibn Qayyim put it beautifully. But they're nothing but a dumb shaitan. فآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.